Believe it or not, everything that you experience in your life is a decision. You decide to be rich, you decide to be poor. You decide to be healthy, you decide to be sick. In this video, we're going to examine how the mind works, how you're giving your power away to it, and most importantly, how to get your power back. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, the fast and simple way to self-realization. So if you want total control over your mind and more happiness and abundance in your life, then you've come to the right place. Now today we're going to take a look at how to use goals to turn impossibilities into possibilities. And we're going to start by examining how the mind works. See, if you examine your mind, you'll see that it is little more than a recording and playback machine. Now, you've experienced before where somebody says something rude to you, and your mind just won't shut up about it. It plays that interaction over and over like a broken record. The problem is, we take for granted what the mind says as being right. You might hear over and over again that life is hard, or you'll never be a success. And your mind feeds you evidence of these limitations. And sometimes the so-called evidence is just taken as fact. But what if what seems like real-life limitations is just a recording in your head? Yeah, but it must be real, you say. I have evidence of this limitation right in front of my eyes. But let's just consider for a moment that the mind is a creative instrument as well, as alluded to this famous scene from The Matrix.
I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to anyway. And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
That vase.
I'm sorry.
I said don't worry about it. I'll get one of my kids to fix it.
How did you know?
Oh, what's really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
Now, if you hold a certain image in your mind, it gets created. That doesn't mean that that image was necessarily true, but rather it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, whether you buy into any of this or not, there's one more aspect about the mind that we often overlook, but is undeniable when we look at it, that we are the owner. Who's it talking to? Or who's looking at it talking to you? Who's looking at that picture of the limitation, that story of whatever the problem is? Who's the witness in this scenario? Now, going back to the habit that we take for granted that what the mind says is true. Well, what are these beliefs? Such as, life is hard, or I can never get ahead. What if these are just self-fulfilling prophecies? If so, how do we overcome these limitations and take ourselves out of this habit of automatic thinking? Goals. Goals are a fundamental principle of Lester Levenson's method. And here's the thing. Goals aren't just about big, grandiose dreams. Goals are also about being intentional in everything you do, which interrupts this pattern of self-defeating stories that run in the mind. I'll give you an example. All right, say I'm going to have lunch with my mom. I might have a story that, my mind that says she's just going to spend the whole time criticizing me. And the whole thing is just going to be a miserable experience. Or say I have a sales meeting to go to. And the story is, they're not going to be able to do it. they're just going to say no. And these stories, they might have lots of evidence from past experiences to back them up. But then again, they might just be self-fulfilling prophecies because of that recording and playback aspect of the mind. And here's where you have a choice. You can just believe what your mind tells you. And for a lot of us, that's the easy route to take. Or you can get proactive and do what Lester Levenson says. Examine your thinking and correct it. And let me be clear. This isn't about forcing yourself to think in a different way or engage in some sort of cognitive dissonance. At the very least, you're giving yourself the opportunity to look at a solution rather than resign yourself to the problem that your mind's given you. And more importantly, it puts you in the position to release your negative feelings that are also locking in that story and making it more real than it needs to be. See, in short, goals take you off of automatic. It challenges the limitations and the impossibilities in your life that your mind is feeding to you, so you can prove that you can really have things your way. And on that note, let's do a little bit of releasing so you can see how easy it is to turn an impossible into a possible. All right, so just think about something that is impossible for you, something that you would like to have, but it just seems completely out of your reach. And as you're thinking about this circumstance, notice what your mind is telling you about it. It's saying, I don't know what to do. It's impossible. I don't have the answer. But maybe we could figure it out. Maybe we'll find the answer out there somewhere. And it has you looking for the answer over here, over there, everywhere. And yet you still don't ever find the solution. Now, if you pay real close attention to the mind, what does it say next? Well, you haven't been able to resolve the situation. You haven't been able to figure out what to do about it, how to get what you want. Here's what I recommend. Beat yourself up. That's what your mind tells you. All right, it tells you to feel bad about yourself, be hard on yourself, put yourself down, or tell yourself some poor me story. Oh, I'm so screwed, I can never win. Oh, woe is me. Now, this is the thing that you've come to rely on, and you're just listening to automatically, oftentimes letting it boss you around. And look at how negative it is. Look at what it's telling you. You haven't been able to get what you want? Beat yourself up. Now, what kind of a friend is that? Why would you want to rely on that and give your power away to something that talks to you like that? It's ridiculous. And so, just recognizing that the mind doesn't have any real intelligence other than the fact that it is only a recording and playback machine. And a lot of that information is just plain useless. And most of what it feeds back to you is negative. And so, if it doesn't have the answer, asking it over and over and over again, which is what our tendency is. When we're trying to figure something out, we keep going back to this thing that doesn't have an answer. And it's like looking in an empty file cabinet for an answer that isn't there because it's empty. But we keep going back to that empty file cabinet again and again and again and again. At some point, we have to recognize, hey, this is ridiculous. There's no answer there. So stop looking in the wrong place here. Now, the next step is, well, recognize, well, your mind wants you to beat yourself up. So, who's it talking to? It's talking to you, right? And you have the decision to make. Like I said right at the beginning, everything in life is a decision. And even though your mind is saying, hey, you should beat yourself up, well, it's your decision to go along with it. Say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. That makes sense. But if you stop and you start to discriminate, right there you take yourself off of automatic. You're no longer listening to that automatic recording and playback machine. And you're starting to see things as truth, the truth that's right in front of your eyes, such as, how does it help me to beat myself up? It doesn't. That doesn't solve anything. That's not going to give me a solution to whatever it is I'm looking for. That's not going to get me my goal. And so, if beating myself up isn't helping, and I'm the one who's deciding to do it, even at the suggestion of my mind, it's still my decision, well, I'm no longer going to listen to my mind and make that silly decision. I'm going to make a better decision now. You see, my choice in this moment is I can go along with my mind, beat myself up, and just dig myself into a hole of negativity, or I can take charge and I can decide I'm going to be positive and love myself. Now, which is a smarter decision? See, when you stop and you start discriminating like this, that decision is obvious and it's easy, clear and simple. And so now you're no longer on automatic. Now you're in charge and you can decide, okay, can I let go of disapprove myself? So take a look at that situation that you're facing, which seems impossible. And notice your mind doesn't have an answer. It doesn't have a solution. All it can do is keep reminding you of the problem and that it's impossible. And then on top of that, just see if your mind's been telling you to beat yourself up, to disapprove of yourself. Because you can't. Because you're no good. Because you've wasted your life. Whatever silly stories it tells you. Right? See how it's been talking to you. And see if you've been going along with that. See if you've been beating yourself up because you can't have what you want. All right, so how does that help you to beat yourself up? And who's doing that? You are. So if you're doing it and it doesn't help, now you got to make a smarter decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide now? Well, I'm assuming you're deciding to be positive, so could you let go of disapproving of yourself just a little bit right now? Right? It's just a decision. Again, everything is a simple decision. So yes or no, could you let go disapproving of yourself? And could you let go of being so hard on yourself? Could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And a little bit more. Remember, it's just a decision, yes or no. And a little bit more. And even more. All right, take a look to see how you feel now. Just see if you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more positive about the situation than you were a few moments ago. Notice the difference? And we're not looking for anything grand in this moment, just simply a lighter feeling. It's just showing you that you're moving in the right direction. And you did that by taking your power back from your mind and you deciding to do the positive thing. And speaking of being positive, now, since positive doesn't hurt anything, could you give yourself some approval? Again, this doesn't have to be a big mind bender, just a simple decision, yes or no. Could you like yourself a little bit? Yes or no? Could you like yourself a little bit more? For no reason, just because it's today. Could you like yourself a little bit more? And some more. And even more. And even more. And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? No reason, just because. And could you give yourself even more approval? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. See if you feel more positive, more empowered. If so, could you just allow that feeling to expand? Notice where it's coming from. You didn't get it because something external happened. That positive feeling, that empowerment, it's inside of you. It's always been inside of you. Covered up by that mind, which is a very negative thing when you pay attention to how it talks to you. But when you start taking your power back, then you realize just how powerful you really are. So could you allow that positivity to expand even more? And even more. And more. And just notice what you're experiencing now. Now take a look at this impossible goal of yours and see if it's a little bit more possible. Just notice, take a look. See if there's more of a sense of, oh, I can do it. Notice the difference? Now, if it still seems like your mind doesn't have an answer, you're still wondering, well, how? Where am I going to find this answer? Remember, don't go looking in that empty file cabinet where that answer isn't. In fact, the only answer your mind has is an answer of lack. It has just a picture, a story that it's impossible. But what if it's just a picture in your mind? What if that whole impossibility, it's only a story, just a picture in your mind? First of all, can you just ask yourself the simple question? Can I let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than what I think it is? And could you? And could you let go of wanting to control that answer? And just allow the solution to come to you without you having to go around searching for it. What if you could just get that answer just intuitively, inspirationally, just coming and showing up like, whoa, that's a great idea. Or just have that goal fall right into your lap. You see, when you start quieting your mind, you gain access to a higher intelligence that we here in Lester Levenson calls beingness. Beingness has all the intelligence in the universe. It's far more intelligent than your mind is ever going to be. And when you let go of beating yourself up, you start giving yourself love and approval. Simply because that's a smart thing to do. That puts you more in touch with beingness. That's why you start getting this sense, just from the little bit of letting go that we're doing here, that it's just a little bit more of a feeling, more of a sense of, oh, it's more possible. Maybe there is a way. Maybe I'm not so doomed after all. And that positive, empowered feeling inside of you, that's not coming from your mind, your ego. That's from beingness. And that's coming from the real you. That you that mind is talking to. When it's telling you all those impossible stories, when it's telling you to beat yourself up, who's it talking to? You, who are beingness. The silent witness. That has no face, no name, no body, no beginning, no end. A part of you that's always present. It's so easy to forget that and give your power away to that mind. So that's why goals are so important, because they take you off of automatic, so you stop being just led around by that mind, which is just a useless machine, and a very negative one at that. Now, if you want to prove this out and be in the place where you are in charge all the time, you're making all the decisions in your life and not leaving it up to some automatic programs and recordings that are in your mind, I invite you to join me for the new Conscious Creation Master Course starting this January. And this is a brand new experiential course that's designed to integrate goals into your life in a very practical way that's going to get you to be more intentional, not just about your big, grandiose goals, but be intentional in everything that you do. So you're not going to be like thinking, oh, I got to go to the gym and, oh, I'm just tired. I don't want to go, but I have to go, and it's going to be a miserable experience. You can catch yourself and just say, hey, I let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than what I think it is. And instead, show up, have lots of energy, and have a great time. There's so many opportunities where you can take yourself off of automatic every single day. And once you start capitalizing on these opportunities, you're quickly going to become a master of your life. So if that's what you want to be a master of your life rather than being bossed around throughout your whole life, then join us on this new 6-week course starting in January. I've got a link to it down in the description below, so check it out, and we'll see you there.